Hello and welcome back to another Speedpaint video. Today you're watching a sped up process of me drawing a Fashionable Style Absol from Pokemon Unite. Stick around until the end to see the proper finished result. In the meantime, let's talk about this art piece. So anyways, what is happening on screen right now is that I am drawing out a wireframe. This will be used to make sure that the final piece doesn't look bad, as the wireframe serves as guidance for me. I'm also using the previous fan art of an Absol that I draw as a reference image, so I can get all of the proportions and everything consistent, as this will be drawn in my art style. So anyways, now I'm just editing the body. It's because the back slants when it should be straight. And so basically, here's a fun fact. In order to make posing this character easier, I put each part on a separate layer so I can manipulate them without manipulating the other parts. So okay, some of you may be curious about the previous fan art that I mentioned earlier on in the video, and allow me to explain some things. While I did make a Speedpaint video on it, you can't watch it anymore. It's because it was privated. And you know why it was privated? Well, it's because I was tricked into thinking my YouTube SEO was bad, which I don't think it was, so I wanted to get some help, because back at the time I was tricked. So I had the description of this video edited and it wasn't that good. So I privated the videos because everything was different. Maybe the video will be re-released into the general public when I edit the description and title into a normal FoxGalah format. So anyways, now we're on to the second step of this artwork, the line art. So all I basically do here is trace over the wireframe while mostly remaining faithful to it. There are some exceptions. For example, I draw in fur markings, but the reason why these fur markings aren't included on the wireframe because they're unnecessary, because they're easy to create without guidance. Okay, I basically said everything I need to say about the line art, so let me just tell you something real quick. I've already got the next artwork plan out. It's going to be fan art of Racer Style Dragapult from Pokemon Unite, since that's the holiday of the month when it comes to like that premium pass thingy, and it's in May, so it makes sense. So I've got to draw it quick since Dragapult's one of my favorite Pokemon. So yeah, that's coming next week. So anyways, now on to the third section, the coloring. So all I do here is basically use the lasso tool to highlight an area that I want to color, and then use the fill bucket tool to fill it in. In order to be more faithful to the source material, I grab my colors from official Absol images. Also, when it is unnecessary, I may not use the lasso tool and use my hand instead to color it in. So now I have literally nothing else to say about the coloring. Don't worry, that's okay, the shading is up soon. All we have to do is coloring in the remaining white parts and we'll be on to the shading. So yeah. So anyways, now we're on to the aforementioned shading, and what I do here is basically use the lasso tool to highlight areas to make sure nothing goes out of bounds, just like the coloring, and use an airbrush to shade everything in. An airbrush was chosen, it's because it makes the art look more realistic and professional. Another nice detail that is present is that the airbrush is actually not black, but a really dark blue. And the same goes for the highlights, which is a really light blue. This was chosen, it's because colored shading makes the art look more vivid and it makes it stand out more, and it's really a nice touch. It's also the color of the background, which means that you just learned what color the background is. It's blue. So okay, here's another thing I want to tell you. Like always, the shiny parts of the art are colored in a 75 opacity airbrush rather than a 51 to make them look shinier. But here's the catch. In this image, we don't even need to shade the eyes. And you know why? It's because they're closed. I think this might be the first art piece where a character's eyes are entirely closed, not counting if they're winking. So yeah, that's a fun fact. A cool one. Okay, now I changed the background color to grey and the Absol opacity to transparent so I can actually see where I'm shading. Yes, I know I can still see where I'm going even without the filters, but I still needed it because it's hard to see. So yeah. So we're gonna move on to the background soon, and now we're on to the background. Like I stated earlier, it's blue, and we're gonna add some patterns based on his hat, just like that. And we're going to add some sparkles because he's one fancy Absol. And here's the finished result. Pretty neat, isn't it? So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this cool video and liked the art. If you want to see more content like this, then subscribe as there's more videos to come. You can also follow me on Twitter if you want to, as I post the art there. Goodbye.